Paul,
right.
We are here. It's our second episode at the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Conference. I just got it out.
Yes, we are. And speaking of small, how's that tiny little microphone you got?
Yeah, well, as
you
the
tall
short
enough to
as
reach
the
it?
short host, that's why they had to put it here. If it was long like yours, I'd be too tall. So. And by the way, we were just talking, you're always talking about thank a machinist, and these microphones are
They look
cool.
like they're almost billet machines.
I know.
I'm
they're
sure
really,
they're not,
really
but
cool.
they are very cool looking.
I'm trying to deflect from me having the tiny weird microphone and talk about your
I appreciate
awesome
you're such a good sport about it because it's fun.
These look like lightsabers.
They kind of do. Lasers.
So, man, speaking of just technology, lightsabers, this event, oh my goodness, the lights are all over us. We have cameras everywhere. It's definitely
big TVs with the logo in the background.
Not one, but two Making Chips logo
Yes.
TVs. I mean, this is definitely the nicest little studio we've ever had.
And also related to Making Chips, there's a snack section where you can get free food by the manufacturers that are part of this program.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of chips.
So what's
chips,
cool about this that's
chips.
different from a lot of the stuff we do is this is just a mix of entrepreneurs from all sorts of different industries. And Making Chips is one of those words, if you know, you know. It's like, oh yeah, you're making chips. What are you doing all day? Making chips. So we're explaining to folks that we don't actually make chips, but some of the people here do. They make food, potato chips.
Yes.
The chips we make are
metal shape. You don't want to eat them, the ones that we
do not want to eat those.
It's a bad day.
We have, speaking of food, we have a little Making Chips sandwich in between us.
Yes.
And let's introduce our guests.
Sure. Jenny Steffensmeier and Paul Bothe.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
And Jenny, I went back in our LinkedIn chat and we started chatting in 2021, I think, after you listened to an episode of Chris Lukey's podcast, and you reached out, and I guess I was on the podcast, and you reached out and we chatted.
Manufacturing Happy Hour.
Yeah, Manufacturing Happy Hour.
Yeah, Chris is a good friend of ours.
Okay.
Yeah, there's this little podcasting community.
He was one of the inspirations for me to do my podcast.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Chris.
Wow.
But anyway, and then when Goldman Sachs reached out and your name came up, I'm like, no way, it's a small world. So, and then Paul, you and I have talked before as well. And so let's start by learning a little bit about your businesses each, and then we'll get into how you got involved with the Goldman Sachs program. So Jenny, why don't you start and just tell us about the business?
Okay. Well, the company is named Steffensmeier Welding and Manufacturing. We're located in Pilot Grove, Iowa. It's the very southeast corner of the state. And we make chips fly there.
There we go. And some sparks, yeah.
And some sparks, sure. Yeah. So various capabilities, everything metal fabrication. So we do a lot of, I'd say we're typically high mix, low volume orders.
Mm-hmm. A
job shop, yeah. So, which is why we were looking at ProShop, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Paul just spends the rest of the episode saying why ProShop is the right fit for you.
I promise not to do that. I promise not to do that.
So lots of fun capabilities between laser cutting, shear, bending, rolling, of course, welding, paint, liquid, and powder coat. And then we do that with about 10 of us.
Okay.
So
that's awesome.
Not a huge big company, but that's why we're here with the 10,000 Goldman Sachs Small Business Program. Small business here.
Love it. And let's hear your story. Tell us a bit about your business, Paul.
Well, my sister and I are the third generation running our company. Our grandfather started it in his basement with one of those great founder stories where he stopped going to work one day and started going into his basement. And we always like to tell the story. One of his early jobs was hand tapping 465,000 wing nuts. If you can imagine that. Now, this was also on the end of a dead-end street, so the neighbors absolutely loved that there was semis coming down the street and all the kids carrying
Loading
metal down to the
material.
basement and metal out of the basement.
What are they doing in there?
So yeah, lo and behold, they moved out of the basement into a shop, and we've been growing since. And actually, this Saturday we're celebrating 76 years in business on November 1st.
Wow, that is amazing.
That is so
That is
awesome. 76 years.
Thanks very much.
Quite a legacy.
We're a traditional CNC job shop, though. We don't have a product. We make other products and components for other people.
Mm-hmm.
All grades of metal, most grades of plastic. We're about half turning, half milling, and a couple Swiss, so we're very diverse, but we do no fabrication, no EDM. We like to stay in our lane, and we like to say, let us do what we do well to help you do what you do well. So that's kind of our basis of our business.
And you're close to me. You're about an hour away from my shop, right? In Kenosha?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that.
And
we just celebrated our 75th anniversary. We just had a big party. It was super
a
great.
year older.
Congratulations.
He's got me by a year.
Yeah, you youngins can look up to this generation. How's that sound?
Absolutely.
How many folks on your team?
We're 36 and hoping to grow. We've been as high as 44, so we've got some room to get back to where we were in the last few years.
Okay.
That's so
Very
good.
All right, shop owners, listen up here. I think all of us know we are in one of the most capital-intensive businesses there is, and margins are tight, and we're always fighting issues. And then when we make money, what do we do with it? Stock market's up and down all over the place. Well, I get asked a lot about where can I invest my money? I'm a firm believer as business owners, you've got to invest in yourself first. You need to reinvest capital into yourself. So the number one thing that I've done in this industry in investing was ProShop ERP. We've been using ProShop since 2018, and my payback literally was within weeks. With their per user based pricing, I knew when I made the decision, I only needed to save my workers roughly 1 hour per month. We saw within the first week, we were saving multiple hours per day. That type of ROI just doesn't come along very often. Outside of that, the real value is being able to quickly implement best practices across my entire shop from the time we get an order to the time we ship it, scaling my business with confidence, being able to go out and know that I can deliver on my promise to deliver quality parts to my customer, and then gaining insights into every job, employee, machine, and every process in our business to really drive efficiency and look for opportunities for improvement. That's where the real value in your business drives. So visit ProShopERP.com, book a demo, and start realizing ROI today. That's ProShopERP.com.
And Jenny, you went through the Goldman Sachs program in 2019. We just figured out.
Yes. Yep.
How did it get on your radar? How did you decide to apply?
Well, so the community college, there was a gal from the community college who reached out and she just said, there's this program and I thought of you and I'm going to send you a link to some information. I think you should check it out. So I did, applied and got in with 39 other Iowans. We were the first Iowa cohort.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so were you in the same cohort with our last guest, Brandon?
Brandon. No. And I'm not sure what
he was a couple
cohort he
years
was.
later.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 2 out of 3 guests from Iowa. That's pretty cool. And you talked about it, Paul. Like they added some investment to the program specifically to focus on rural areas, which I think is
Yeah,
really,
I think
really
$100
cool.
million 2 years ago.
Yeah, a little small chunk of change. Just a quick 100 mil. That's awesome. Yeah, so we always like to start and kind of like ask, what's your origin story? How did you get into the Metalworking Nation? You told us a little bit about your businesses, but when you grew up and you're 5 years old, like your parents, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to run a job shop. I'm sure that's what we all said, right?
Funny you say that. My origin story begins shortly after. I started running my first machine when I was 9 years old. It was a Kearney and Trecker horizontal mill.
Kearney and Trecker.
I'll never forget
At
that.
9.
Made in Milwaukee, by the way.
So he actually did say that.
Yeah.
Do what you do, Paul.
So in a family business, especially in the 80s, you were allowed to have your kids come to work. And so it was pretty cool. I mean, I was in elementary school running machines and had a paycheck coming in. And that was kind of cool. I got to hang around with my dad and my uncle. And it was just cool being in this shop as a little kid. But also it laid the foundation of paycheck. Yeah.
You had
Not
the best
delivering
candy
papers.
collection of anyone in school,
Yeah.
for sure.
That's right. Well, the first job in the shop for all the kids in our families was in the day picking up cigarette butts off the ground outside. The grossest job to give your kid, but
back
that's
then
where
you
we
could have
began.
kids in the shop and you could smoke while you ran your machine.
It is a
Not
different
anymore.
world.
Yeah.
I was the youngest person in Kenosha to hold a worker's permit, which I wear that as a badge of pride, and
Absolutely.
the opposite
That should be
sometimes.
your LinkedIn like tagline.
That's right. Child labor since 1988. Right?
Yeah, so good. That's awesome.
I went to school in New York thinking I was going to do something in music, believe it or not, and I started down that path, and I just realized how much I missed. I missed the machine shop. I missed a regular paycheck as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something about being in that shop and making something. At the end of the day, I did this, or I did this more efficiently than the other guy. All those beautiful
A little bit of that
things.
chip on your shoulder competition.
Absolutely. Being the youngest family member in the shop, I was never the best machinist, so I had to make my way by being the most efficient. Find a way to do it faster.
Mhm.
If you're better, then I'm faster. Like that kind of mindset.
So
that's how I kind of grew up in it. I came back to the business after I got out of the music industry, and I've been there.
What was your like? Did you have an instrument, or what did you do in music?
Yeah, I went to NYU to play with performance. So I played the bass at NYU, and it was a great education and great experience. But I really missed not only Wisconsin, but I missed the shop. Like anyone who has it in their blood, you just know it's it can come and go, but it's always gonna be there in one way or another.
Cool. So yeah, okay, back to where you were in the story. I had to derail you and ask you about your instrument because I think it's cool. I was going to be an artist. I was going to be a fine artist, and then I was like, no, I got to get back to the shop too. So
no, it's important, and I guess I didn't realize it at the time, but it's so cool to be in a shop and control your own destiny that way. And people ask what we do. What do these machines do? They can make anything. And people don't understand that. Like you have to really get into the weeds to explain that we can do anything there. It feels a little bit like Willy Wonka some days.
I love that.
That's fantastic.
That's so good.
And so your grandfather started it, parents or...
Yeah, from there, my dad and uncle were the next generation. Okay. Because it was two of them, it was a natural. My dad was lathes and my uncle was mills.
Okay.
And that's how they spread it out. And so it worked well for them. But by the time you get to the third generation, it isn't always the best to be the best machinist. In fact, that's going to tie you down and hold you down. So as the generations go on, you kind of have to move further away from the shop and more into business and management. And to that end, this Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program helped me tremendously because we learned from our own business and we were in our lane and we do all these things well. But there's such a bigger world out there as far as business management and tactics. And not only that, it changes so rapidly. What worked for the generation in the 80s, 90s isn't what works today. Marketing is different. Everything's different. Technology, everything.
Yeah. I mean, just before we were recording, you were like, a lot of people are good at what their business does. So they're good at machining. A lot of these business owners, okay, I'm good at machining. Well, are you good at running an entire business? And I think that's what the Goldman Sachs program really helps with.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, that's good.
And how did you get into it and decide to apply?
Well, I've got to give credit once again to my sister here. She heard about the program. We are a WeBank certified woman-owned business. And so she heard about the program, but she said, hey, Paul, you're 10 years younger. There's more value for you to get this than for me. And I'm really thankful that she did that because it's not only changed our business, but it's changed me as a person.
So good.
Oh, that's great. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Jenny, tell us a little bit about the origins of the business that you now run.
Well, yeah, my origins, I feel like I'm second generation. I guess mine starts with a love story. That's really, and not love of metal, but love of a guy who loved metal. So my late husband, Ben, started Steffensmeier Welding and Manufacturing. And so we lost Ben in 2015 to something called frontal temporal dementia. Mm-hmm. And it was a long goodbye. But at the beginning, you talked about the parking lot and picking up cigarette butts. And when Ben and I were courting, we spent a lot of time at that place, mm-hmm. And I was cleaning toilets and scrubbing floors and mowing the grass and trimming bushes for a long, long time.
Mhm.
So that's how it all started. But then he roped me into actually helping with the business because he had one secretary and they were getting busier, and he would ask, would you want to come in and help? And so, okay, I was an X-ray technician and a sonographer. That was my real job.
Mhm.
But we kept also making babies. And so after number 3, he said, well, we decided we're like breaking even on daycare. So would you want to come in and help the secretary? And
Okay.
I said, okay. So they built me a desk for real. And that's how I, thank goodness, started coming in and just, learned how to buy and sell steel. And it's different than, scanning somebody's gallbladder.
Yeah.
Very different.
So, yeah, that was that. And so then just fast forward to today. We have 5 children, and 3 of the 5 have participated in the business at some time or another, but I have 2. The youngest sons are not going away.
They're actively working in the business today.
Yeah, they
so
are
good.
really running the day-to-day, and it's amazing. It's talk about life-changing. It's another life-changing event. I wanted to go back though, because I just find it interesting. You're both talking about musicians. Our machinist will be with Steffensmeier Welding for 20 years this next month in November. And he is just the most talented guy. He's a bass player,
Oh, cool.
musician,
Just like Paul.
and machinist.
Yeah.
And everybody loves the guy. He is the go-to subject matter expert, even beyond the machining, because he's been there 20 years.
Mhm.
So he kind of knows everything.
It really is
That's cool.
a creative trade. And so growing up, I thought there's no way I belong in this engineering, this mathematical. Like, I wasn't good at that. I was a painter. I did like paintings. And I was just like, I probably won't end up in the family business. I just thought it's not really for me. And the longer I'm in it, I'm like, it absolutely is. That there's a lot of creativity to it. And of course, I focus more on other people's shops and serving customers and, the communication side of the business and sales and marketing and things like that. I don't run a machine, but I think that's one thing I want everyone to take away. Like if I had like one lasting message for the Metalworking Nation after all these episodes is like, this industry really is for every type of person, not just engineers. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's such a wide variety of occupations within it.
It's also not easy. This is a very, very challenging industry. And so when I hear your story, Jenny, and I mean, just like losing a loved one, and losing a spouse, and then that's hard, of course. And then now it's like, okay, now I have to pick up the pieces and run a business in an industry that's extremely hard to run a business in.
Mm-hmm.
You might be like my hero. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
No, I'm not. People will say that to me, but the reality is you would do it because, I don't know. I believe the human spirit is resilient. That is how we're built. And entrepreneurs are definitely the most resilient people I know who, Paul will attest to this as well with the Goldman Sachs program. It's so lonely, but you don't have to be lonely once you're a part of this community because everybody just gets it. Yeah. So the fact that I didn't have this community at the time, there are days definitely that I wonder how the heck did I survive this? But we all survive things. We all have things. You know? So, I appreciate your...
It's just really impressive. It's like you kind of grew up in it, right? It's like the industry that you knew, and you went from doing something in the medical field to, okay, let's run the shop. Was that hard for you to decide? Like, were you like, okay, what do we do now? Maybe sell the shop or something like that? Or did you know I'm going to carry the torch?
Nick, I had no idea what I was doing. Zero. And, the program speaks to what were there? 9,
modules.
9 what?
Modules.
Yes, modules. Thank you. That was the word. And the people part was a big one. And so it reminded me that like, why would I know how to lead? I just do not have
5
the
kids?
skills. That's what I go back to. I have started. I do this analogy all the time with kids and employees. Like they're the same. You love them to death. Even sometimes you want to shake them, but you don't. But it's
Shake your kids a little, but do that to an employee, you got a big problem, especially nowadays.
my mom always said, you can beat them, just don't leave marks.
Oh, so funny.
No, but there are a lot of. So I was reminded that I was, and I still am, a good mom, and I did have to lead as a mother. So I can do this. I have to remind myself of that sometimes. No, I can do this.
That's so
But I
cool.
have to go back and start being the person that I was, because it was so chaotic at the beginning. Yeah. But I was the reason for the chaos, even though I did not see it then. But now I see it 100%.
Yeah. Wow.
Hey, Mike, how often does an outside service provider keep you up at night?
Yeah, every day. I mean, the team's looking for updates on that. Every day we have a job that we need to know on.
How often is it heat treating?
I mean, large majority.
Imagine if you could go log into your supplier's website, visit a client portal, and see exactly the status of your job.
Well, that would be very helpful because, typically when we're looking, it's because our customer's looking. And I don't like having to say, we'll call you back. I like to be able to just look and tell them. And when it's not in my shop, I can't do that right now.
I think honesty and transparency is something that most manufacturing leaders want to deliver to their customers. But what I love about Phoenix Heat Treat is they literally created this client portal. It's the most transparent, the most honest you can be. It says exactly where the job is, and it makes it super easy for guys like you to tell their customers what to expect.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I wish all of our outside processors had that. Nick, how do we get a hold of them?
So you go to phoenix-heat-treating.com. That's phoenix-heat-treating.com. They're serving customers all over the country.
So tell us about some of the lessons you learned in those 9 modules, or even from the people you were going through the program with that may have become...
Can you list the modules? Do you know the 9?
Money, know your numbers.
Know your numbers. Being bankable that wasn't a module. That was like a subsection.
You mentioned people.
You're the leader.
Leaders, sales and marketing.
Operations and processes. The last one was called Bringing It All Together. That one I can remember.
I think you got a good chunk of them.
Yeah,
let's call it 9.
That's the majority.
Plus or minus 4.
No one's counting. That we'll just say that's 9. I agree with Paul. Yeah,
that's right.
So yeah, some of the main, like Paul said, like some of the main lessons from those modules.
And another one was negotiations with Maury Tahirapur, the world famous negotiations expert. So she was amazing. And when you walk in, you're like, what is a negotiation expert going to teach you? Is it going to be pounding on the table? See, I didn't actually pound the table.
Yeah, good job. The audio editors are happy.
She brings a totally different vibe where it's about calm and it's about bringing yourself. That's the title of her book, by the way. But it's about being vulnerable and open and understanding your value as a person so that you can effectively negotiate and understand, when you want to walk away too.
So her name again?
Maury Tahirapur, and she teaches at Wharton. She teaches all kinds of important people and negotiations. And
so good.
With the power of Goldman Sachs' resources, they can bring in someone like that where we'd never have a chance to communicate with someone like that.
And the name of her book, in case our listeners want to check it out?
Bring Yourself.
Bring yourself. Awesome. I love that. Cool. Yeah. I mean, it's like, the leading expert in this category got to come and teach us, and as small business owners from Wisconsin and Iowa. I love that. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And what did it cost you?
Absolutely nothing. It costs a lot of time and effort and energy, and my wife and loved ones had to support me during that time. So it was a very, very tough process and a huge investment. But very worthwhile, and one of the most important things to me and my business, I would say, personally and as a business owner, is just, it was amazing because I went into the program, first of all, not knowing what I didn't know. All this was out there, and it's kind of like a radio. All these things are going in the air, and until you can turn that on and tap into it, you just don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I wouldn't say it was a impending doom feeling, but it was always a lot of pressure that I didn't know what to do with. I didn't necessarily have the answers. Not that I have the answers now, but at least I have the resources to work through things and plan and look at the business with different ways. And I think one of the most important parts of the program is this alumni network, because I've been out for 4 years now. But the alumni network and the resources within the alumni are just huge. If you have a problem, you've got 17,000 business owners that you can look for the right person. If you don't know the right person, you can ask someone who the right person is. And
they get back to you usually.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these two you guys just met today yourselves, and I'm sure will be resources for each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
Yeah.
Jenny,
is
did
cool.
you have a favorite module or a favorite lesson or takeaway from the program?
I don't know that I can speak to that necessarily. I can just tell you my favorite part of the whole thing is what you're talking about, Paul. It's this network. So I just remember day one, I arrived on campus and there were, as I mentioned, I think 39 other folks in the room, just like me, small business. And I don't think any of us really knew what was going to be happening in the coming weeks. Because like you said, Paul, it was a ton of work, but a great ROI, right? At the end of that day, and I didn't know anybody in the room, but at the end of the day, I just stood up. I raised my hand and I just stood up and I just looked around the room and I said, you guys are all crazy. Like, I thought that I was crazy. I thought I was the only one that didn't know what I was doing, just given my circumstances, and I was the only one that's totally stressed out. No, all of you are, and you chose to do it. Like, you chose to do this. I didn't choose to do this,
Yeah.
So that was just a huge takeaway for me was the reality that I'm not alone. And I had felt so alone after the loss of Ben, of course. But yeah, we're just not alone. And the other thing about this amazing group of people is they are so willing to be vulnerable and share. And it just makes such a difference.
Does that come organically, or do they say this is part of the ground rules? You have to be super
Totally
vulnerable?
Organically.
Yeah.
And I think that, that's another thing. I thought, oh, it's just our Iowa cohort. Like we're, the best ones ever. But yeah, everybody is having the same experience.
You're not like Team Iowa.
Yeah.
Wins the match against Team Illinois. That's so good. And gosh, I mean, like I'm really moved as you're talking, both of you. Like even the last episode we recorded, it ended up just being really about the community and the networking. And I mean, that was like the big takeaway is one thing I said was networking is often this, okay, after you're done running the real parts of the business, maybe you have some time for networking. And it's like maybe the marketing guy should do some networking. And, the way we our careers are so influenced by this big network that we've created through, or I guess that our audience has created, through this Making Chips connection we all have. And it's just invaluable. I can't count the connections that have impacted my life.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I think too, maybe it's a little bit as we age and we just get more appreciative of things in life. But, making chips or, we're talking metal, it just sounds very masculine, right? But there's so much more to all of our businesses. I mean, because our businesses, we are not in business without people.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's all about
whether
employees.
It's our customers, vendors, employees, our communities. So it's all about our heart and soul. And maybe that's why people, it's easy to let your vulnerability out. Maybe that's part of why. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Aging. I am really appreciating the connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
I was going to say, you and I in a family business have a different level as well. You're talking about births and deaths, and we have the same thing too. My uncle passed in 94, kind of young, and it just it shook our family, it shook our business. And then my mom stepped in, and all of a sudden she's working with us. And my sister's kids, while they're not going to carry on the business, they've worked with us. And I have to give a quick shout out to my boys, Hugo and Augie, who will hopefully listen to this. But they're 4 and 7 years old, and they love the smell of the shop. They walk in there, they're in heaven as soon as they get in there.
That's
So
great.
I'm not going to pressure them, of course, but it's not just business. In our cases, it's family and business,
in
and you
the
can't
blood.
pull them apart. It's all one. It's all in the
Exactly.
same pool.
You know, I got a 4 and 7-year-old too.
You got your hands full too, huh?
Yeah, I love it. And we're already talking about the 4th generation, and I think there's probably 15 Goldners involved in the family business. And Paul, you've got a son who's doing something, right?
He's working
involved.
for one of our customers.
Yeah, I love
Kimbo
that.
Campers.
Yeah, so you'll never know, but maybe he'll end up working for Dad one day. But it's so cool, like all 4 of us, family businesses, and I say all the time, it is like the backbone, right, of the industry is like this family business, and there's a German term for it called Mittelstand. It means like this multi-generational business that perpetuates over time, and they like strategically place people with different skill sets in different parts of the business, and it's very anti-nepotism and earn it, but this is part of the legacy of your family. And so it's really cool to see, because it's not just in Europe, it's all over in this metalworking nation that we serve, and I love it.
Well, we are owners, but my sister and I particularly think of ourselves like almost like the national park, or as stewards, like take care of it and leave it better than you found it for the next that you're going to pass it on to. So hopefully Augie and Hugo will do that. I would never pressure them into doing it, but if they choose to, then it's going to be there for them to grow it. And something that's cool, I'm still serving customers now. There's only a few of them left, but people who worked with my grandfather in the early 80s, or my dad and my uncle cultivated these customers. We're still working with them. And to that point, we've been working with these customers for 5 decades. And when a new buyer comes in, we're like, let us tell you what you need to know about this or this part of this history.
I'll do the onboarding for you at your company.
It's kind of cool, but you see them, they order this part, we're saying, no, you always got to order these together. Like, just a little institutional knowledge that now only we carry because they've had turnover at their business. So
cool.
It's kind of cool to support our customers that way. And just, we've been here, we'll be here. You can count on us. And it's not just lip service. We're saying that. And if you got to call me on Christmas night to talk about machining, any of you call me anytime you want. We'll talk machining. More so if you're a customer, of course. But it's important to really serve those customers. They rely on us. And I'm not fit to be a doctor. I passed out at the sight of blood or bones or anything like that. But like, there is this element of helping people, and people come to you in need. Sometimes it's a rush. Sometimes that's, my boss is freaking out. And when you've got this shop that can do anything and you've got control, you really can help people, and you can change their path too, which is a cool part of our job.
Yeah, absolutely. Jenny, did you influence your sons into joining the business? Did you just give them the opportunity and say, hey, let me know if it's for you? Or was it like, hey, it was for my father, where it was like, you will take over this company? That's your choice.
No, I didn't twist their arm. But, my oldest son is not in the business, and he has his own business. And he shared with me somewhat recently, as we talk about his brothers, Aaron and Nathan, who are in the business, and their why. Why are we doing this? Isaac said, for me, Mom, my relationship with Dad, Aaron and Nathan did not have that. They were pretty young as Ben started to get ill, and so their memories are different. And so our conversation was around, why do they feel so strongly about being there? Because Isaac doesn't. He does not feel an obligation. So I'm not really sure if Aaron and Nathan, I think they're there just because they love working with their hands in the same way their dad did. And that smell that you talk about, Paul, oh my gosh. It's like I could smell it.
Yeah, right now, just thinking about it. Yeah.
Yes, it's so cool. It's so cool. So, no, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about my oldest daughter, Rachel, who came on board about 5 years ago. She has stepped away now because she's doing another business that she and I started. But
A lot of entrepreneurs.
pardon?
A lot of entrepreneurship in this family.
Yeah, for sure. But she really helped in the leadership aspect of the company because there was none. It was not happening. So anyway, there's just a lot of passion, and it's so fun to share it with your kids every day. And I think that the passion is what carries us through a lot of days. I know for me, I didn't used to know that was part of my why, but it's like our customers became were like my patients,
Oh, cool.
in the hospital setting.
Yeah, it's
like,
just the same thing he was saying almost.
Yeah,
you
helping
get-
out. Helping
Yeah, it's so
out.
good.
yeah.
I love that.
So, and I'm seeing that in my boys. That's how I'll finish that
Yeah.
out, is I am seeing that their interaction with our partners it's really cool.
They were like
Because they're
taking
so
care of
young.
them. Yeah.
They're 23 and 25 years old, but I don't know, they've got it.
That's
I'm
so cool.
really seeing it. It's fun.
I'm sure Ben would be super proud of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Paul, before we hit record, you were telling us about some of the things that you learned in the program, and we were talking about shop tours, and you learned how to give different types of tours to different types of folks and speak about your business in different ways, whether it was a congressperson or a vendor or a customer, perhaps, and just maybe share a little bit more about that.
Well, the tour itself has been important for so many reasons, and it's gotten better over the years, and we keep honing it. Not to make it performative, but like you said, you're having different kinds of people with different experience levels with machining, and you want to cater to each of them in their own unique way. So this is one of the things you learn in the Goldman Sachs program, is like communication styles and who are you communicating with and why. And so if you can understand that kind of briefly, the tour gets so much better, but it works well with customers. They enjoy it, and I guarantee they remember aspects of the tour forever. They'll never forget it. As we get policymakers and lawmakers in, a lot of them know about machining, but they don't know, they don't know the details. So we're not talking about trunnions, and we're not talking about axes. It's just like, we're going to give you this level, and the students from the tech school get a different tour, and the bankers get a different tour. But the common thread is that we just want it to be exciting and fun and really make someone feel special while they're there. So yeah, it's about catering it to their personal experience levels. But that's kind of where we took this as far as advocacy, because that's why we're here in Washington, is to work with our policymakers. And it makes it a lot easier to engage. At least for me, this has been my path, to engage with the policymakers when you can say, hey, come check out what we do.
Mhm.
We give a great tour. Our wall of fame at the end of the tour, I will put up against any shop's wall of fame. Not to say we're the best, but I'll put it in the same ring. And when you get to the wall of fame, you see 76 years of amazing parts, and we remember all the hard work in that setup. Or, oh God, it took 2 weeks to get this one, and it made the wall of fame. Hallelujah. So we go
So
through
good.
history. We go through the history of machining. We talk about why we're doing things. But then if you guys were here on the tour, then we're going to be talking about different things.
Then we will be talking about trunnions and work holding.
Yeah, and all the
ERP
cool
systems.
stuff. And
yeah.
even though you've seen a zillion shops, I'm sure we can show you a trick or something cool that you haven't seen. And that's why I love getting out to
Always.
other shops. We were talking, in a lot of ways, they're all the same, and yet they're always all different. And I even get a kick out of like going to shops that make huge parts. Like, I'm just like, wow, it's exactly what I do, but bigger.
yeah, so good.
So yeah, the tour has been important, and it's a lot of fun to show off the shop, and it's exciting to let people in there and expose people who haven't been exposed to machining. People close their eyes and they think of, like, sometimes you're going to go home dirty like a coal miner, and you're working in this crummy place covered in dirt and oil, and it's scummy, or like not high quality people. But it's one of those things, and this is something that I know, you can take 2 steps into a shop and you know what's going on there. Just look around you and you can sense it.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a clean, well-lit shop. There's always high quality people doing high quality work. And it's
I love how you just said that.
I don't have
high
to,
quality people doing high quality work. I love that.
I don't have to paste stuff on for an ISO audit. It's like, we live this, like go ahead and audit, and our customers now, as customers are getting more advanced, they want to come in and audit your processes. It isn't enough just to have the ISO certification.
Sure.
They want to see it with their own eyes. And so that's also like the tour, like come in and see it for yourself. Go check out some other shops if you want to. You passed 3 crummy ones on the way here, so like,
I
make
love
up
it.
your mind.
So good. Just the pride, in how you do the tour, and hey, come and see. We got nothing to hide. In fact, we want to show you everything behind the curtain. We think you'll be impressed. So good. I think the skill of giving a tour, not just giving a tour, but telling your story of you guys have remarkable stories. And I think that's something that needs to be honed, for leaders. And we get the honor of doing it on Making Chips all the time, telling stories and a little bit of our story and a lot of our guest stories. But I think if you don't know how to tell your story, if you don't know how to give a shop tour, you ought to learn,
Well, it's kind of funny because our tour does start with the history, and we're talking about my grandfather and some of his early beliefs. Like before ISO, he said, if we're going to grow, we have to have processes. Let's do it the Bothe way. We'll find the best way, and let's all do it the same way. Not you program this way, you do Z over here, and like every programmer does something different. So he had that mindset. He was also an early adopter of the 4-day work week, going back to the 70s. He said, let's do Monday through Thursday, Friday's optional overtime if we've got it and if you want it. And let's make a little more balanced work life. Now, it's ironic because he was so efficiency minded that he would hate to have us dwelling on the dead grandfather as part of the tour. But, we do have to talk about it. It's important to our story. German quality and efficiency, right?
Manufacturers, what is your biggest headache? Is it measuring improving profitability, gaining efficiencies with AI and automation, maybe tightening up your cybersecurity, maybe getting your business ready to sell? At CLA, their goal is to know you and help you with challenges like these and more. Every day, CLA helps manufacturers tap into millions in revenue and cost savings, like one manufacturer that boosted capacity and revenues by 15 to 20%. Visit CLAconnect.com to hear real success stories and learn how you can grow your top and bottom line.
Well, one of the things you mentioned previous to hitting record as well was you had an idea in your mind of what advocacy was going to be, like talking to community colleges and building some of those connections, but you realize there's a much higher level that you can with your state congressman or your governor or whatever, and try to help influence real policy that can help make a difference to your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was one of the modules that we missed before was advocacy. And so I got through that program, and I'm engaged with the local community college, Gateway Tech. And I've worked with them for a number of years. As I got through the module, I was thinking my big advocacy move is what if I can connect with the Illinois tech colleges, because we're right on the border. Mm-hmm. But the Goldman Sachs program, they really ingrain in you to think bigger. Like in the last summit, their tagline was make small big. And that's like a big part of that. You're condensed and you're feeling that pressure and you only see yourself as this big, but they kind of they flat out encourage me to think much, much bigger. And so nothing wrong with advocacy with 2 tech colleges and trying to engage with both. But by the end of that module, they were saying, no, you should be out in Washington talking to senators and congressmen and engage with the manufacturing caucus, and here's how you do it kind of thing. So they gave us some practical steps on how to do this. And the support's still there. I can call some of the people from the Voices group if I ever have a question about advocacy or how should I do this, and they've always got answers. And it's amazing to have these resources at our fingertips.
I love this. It's just such a great story, such a great episode, and I make small big.
That's a great tagline. Yeah,
you've had a couple like bars here today, dude. You've got like the make small big, high quality people. What was that one?
High quality work.
Doing high quality work. I love that. So good.
Maybe we should trademark those.
Yeah.
Before this goes out on the air.
Hashtag them. Yeah.
Goldman Sachs like, sorry, we already got the first one. Awesome. So, guys, as we kind of wrap up here, talk about making small big and high quality people doing high quality work. We have our own little tagline that we end every episode with, and whether you're making sparks or you're making chips, we know if you're not making chips,
you're not making money.
Bam.